Hey, Peter. So this is your before and after. The left-hand side is kind of your before, and the right side is your after. And on the left-hand side, we did a 1:14 pace, and you took 68 strokes. On the right-hand side, in the after, you did the same 1:14 pace, but this time you took 58 strokes. So you saved 10 strokes, and actually that was an increase in efficiency of 15%. So you reduced the number of strokes by 15%, and that's how we measure stroke efficiency to begin with. So the idea here is to reduce your strokes each time at a 1:14 pace for you, to the point where you can't reduce your strokes anymore. So it goes from 58 to 56 to 55 to 54 to 54, and you just keep testing yourself and you can't get past 54 strokes. That's when we would reduce the 1:14 pace to 1:13 or 1:12 and see if you can continue to take those number of strokes, and you continue to get faster and faster and faster that way. And that's how we measure stroke efficiency for the most part. So great job, 15% improvements, fantastic. So what I want to do now in this video is just kind of go through and show you some of the biggest differences that I saw between the before and after, and and talk about some of the things that we want to work on beyond this. So one of the things that I like, and it was actually just there, if we move back to that last stroke, what I really like, watch the after. Notice how your hand enters, and you can already tell it enters. One of the things I would like is you to extend it. Go ahead and flatten out your elbow a little bit more here, but I know what you were trying to do. You're focused on that elbow. You're focused on keeping that elbow high, and you did a pretty good job of it. A lot better than on the left hand side. So is it perfect? Nope, not yet, but look at this. At that same point in the stroke, you're a lot more vertical on that right hand side, and so you're getting a lot more water that you're able to hold on to and move through the power portion of the stroke. So again, you can see it in a couple different frames, how you really are working on getting that elbow high earlier in the stroke versus having your elbow lead the way. So on the left hand side, notice how your elbow always starts the stroke and not your hand. So if you watch your elbow here, that was what engaged the stroke. So we don't want that. We want the hand to go down. We want the hand after it goes down to lead the way, and then, oh, that's a beautiful one on the right hand side. Look at this. Look at how vertical you are, and you haven't even gotten to your shoulder yet. So your shoulder's right here, and your arm's already vertical. So that is a beautiful stroke, and we want this to happen every time. We want that consistency. So by the time you're here, you can even take this stroke even deeper at this point. Once you get the vertical, then you can drive your hand even further down and get even more water to grab onto and hold onto. So that was a beautiful example of that improvement. Whereas the left-hand side, again, you're leading with your elbow and you're missing out on getting vertical at this point in the stroke. So this is where you're at this point in the stroke, you want it to be vertical. You don't get vertical until almost the complete end of part of the stroke. So that's where your hand is actually vertical. So that was a huge improvement, and I expect to see even more improvement as you continue to practice. The other thing that I noticed is that you have a much slower stroke rate. Obviously there's your 10 strokes that you saved, but it's much more controlled. You're extending it out, you're extending that vessel on the right side. I feel like you're more balanced. You can see you're more horizontally balanced than in here. So that's where the water line starts, and you kind of go down like this. Where here you're getting more of your rail all the way. See, that's your nose right here. That's in the nose of your board. And so you get much more rail in the water than you do here. So think about it this way. A barge has a really wide berth. So that's where your board is hitting oncoming water. A sailboat enters and hits water very narrowly. Sailboat cuts through the water, so you can see at the very tip here where your nose is, right here. Look at that. That's what's hitting the water. And then the water is tapering off of the board along the rails, whereas here it's hitting it and kind of just plowing through on the left hand side. So that's why that balance is so important. That oncoming water is hitting a nice small tapered surface versus a big old barge that you see in this left side. So that is a huge improvement there, and that's something that we're certainly going to work on, getting the consistency there. So that was another thing. And then you're rolling a lot more, and you're rolling in a more controlled manner and more functional on the right hand side. So the function of the roll here is to recover your arm, but also to extend that stroke and get onto that rail. So great job. And right now we'll go into the individual drills and talk about those.